No, you said it. You can't backtrack now, mate. You have decided. You have decided to believe something that isn't true, and the only person that can prove to you that it isn't true has decided to stay silent and allow people like you to believe slurs and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about her former colleagues.
We've all known on the right that James O'Brien is the most nasty, vindictive, revolting, dishonest little so-and-so in all of Great Britain. But what's so hilarious is that a massive civil war has just exploded at LBC, or as I call it, the Labour Broadcasting Company, because it is now so far to the left, and it's the lefties who are eating each other and revealing what a toxic little weasel James O'Brien really is. So let me explain. You might remember the hard leftist Sangita Myska was sacked from LBC last year. She disappeared from the scene. She was under some type of non-disclosure agreement, so she couldn't exactly explain the reasons why. But effectively, the station was highly concerned about the fact that she was seeming to sort of advocate for a pro-Hamas position on a weekly basis on the airwaves. She, of course, would argue that she was pro-Palestinian. But James O'Brien, who is, let me tell you, just a shill now for LBC management because they pay his £400,000 paycheck to put his children through private school, he is desperate for it to be seen that the LBC management did nothing wrong because they were just cutting Sangita Myska loose because she was a flop. Terrible in the ratings. Now, you've got to think about this from a couple of different perspectives. Number one, that's a very, very nasty thing for you to put out there when you're talking about one of your colleagues. Oh, she lost her job because she was a disaster. I mean, she was a disaster for a whole load of reasons, but it's not really the point in this case. Secondly, someone like James O'Brien, who claims to be standing up for the man, is actually now just the mouthpiece of a billionaire. Big business, because he wants his paycheck more than anyone else. What I have found fascinating is that the left is now turning very much on James O'Brien. These revolting people are also understanding the fact that James O'Brien is even more revolting than them. Sol Stannerworth posted on X, O'Brien claims Sangita Myska wasn't silenced by LBC for criticising Israel. He says it's a lie and accuses Sangita of deliberately allowing the lie to fester by staying silent, allowing people to believe anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. How is saying Sangita was sacked anti-Semitic? Supertansky, shameful. James fails to disclose that employees likely have to sign NDAs at Global, therefore legally Sangita Myska can't voice her experience without a risk of legal ruin. Stats prove this wasn't about viewing figures or conspiracy. I stand with her. Peter Oborn, I'm a great fan of James O'Brien, but I think this attack on Sangita Myska is out of order. Her silence clearly suggests she is bound by a confidentiality agreement and is therefore unable to respond and refute his version of events. Although I did like this from Mike Graham. No one sensible should be a fan of the ghastly hypocrite and failed journalist, O-Virus. So, what sparked all of this? Let me show you the extraordinary exchange on LBC. Then I'll get analysis from the brilliant Alex Phillips. Let's watch.
What happened to Sangita, even at LBC? You know,
no, that's just Rolex, mate. And I mean, you can say it because you've got free speech, but that's just crap.
Thank you.
All right. We all sit in. I'll tell you something because it bores me rigid. This, and I can't believe that certain people have allowed this lie to be perpetuated. We sit in a room every 3 months. Every single person that works here, we sit in a room every 3 months. They show us graphs of how our program is performing. Right. Everybody knows when someone's vulnerable. And it's not the graph of what audience you inherit when you come on air. It's a graph of how your audience falls or rises during the duration of your program. Every single person in this building sits in that room and watches a graph for every single program every 3 months. All right?
I don't want to get off topic.
No,
James,
you said it. You can't backtrack now, mate. You have decided. You have decided to believe something that isn't true, and the only person that can prove to you that it isn't true has decided to stay silent and allow people like you to believe slurs and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about her former colleagues. So
I didn't make an anti-Semitic slur or anything.
Yes, you are. You're claiming that someone has been censored or silenced when they haven't.
But that's not anti-Semitic. How's that anti-Semitic? That in itself is what's wrong with everything.
Okay, mate. I am setting the record straight on something, okay? And the idea that somebody would be silenced for being critical of Israel during a phone-in that is heavily critical of Israel is palpably absurd. You can dispute the fact that it's anti-Semitic. That's my opinion. And that is my freedom of speech that I am exercising, just as you are exercising yours. But if you choose to come on this program and tell lies about every single one of my colleagues, I will push back, okay? And that is what you are doing. I sympathize with you because the lies have been deliberately allowed to fester by somebody who can only answer for their own conduct. But it is lies, okay? And if you want to come on this program again, you are more than welcome.
I mean, Alex Phillips, number one, yes, it's quite beautiful to see all of the hard leftists at war with each other and civil war at LBC. I'm all for that. But it is quite an extraordinary position that James O'Brien is taking, isn't it? Sangita Myska, in his view, should come out publicly and say, no, I wasn't got rid of because I'm pro-Palestinian or pro-Hamas, however you look at it. I was got rid of because I was such a flop, such a failure. My ratings were so terrible.
Yeah, I mean, James O'Brien is nasty. He's a bully. He's a pumped up ego. In fact, that's probably why he gets a lot of ratings, because people quite, sadistically like watching him do the takedown. But I think he's a really unpleasant person. And I wait for the day that something's revealed about him personally and he gets dragged through the court of public approval, because I dare say there's a lot that he does in his private life that is reprehensible just because he seems such an unpleasant man. But we both know that what happens when you leave a TV station is you're not allowed to talk about why you left that TV station. He will know that Sangita is under an NDA, and to sit there, there was many neat ways. If he was an intelligent man, a genuinely intelligent man, there were many neat ways of handling that call, and he deliberately did not. I think he rather enjoyed driving the knife in.
But first, did you know that sleeping less than 6 hours per night doubles the risk of early death? Poor sleep is also linked to obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, depression, and a weakened immune system. Now, I've got to admit, I've struggled with my sleep for a while. I tried everything, but I found it difficult to wind down and get to sleep before about 2 a.m. Late, I know. But actually, I'm not alone. The CDC reports over 35% of adults in the US sleep less than the recommended 7 hours. Many sleep supplements contain melatonin and other ingredients that create dependencies, cause morning grogginess, and lose their effectiveness over time. So this is why I take Evening Being. It is a brand new product by Verso. After 3 years of perfecting the formula, they created a melatonin-free drink mix with clinically studied, patented ingredients. It's formulated to calm an active mind, help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and improve deep and REM sleep, all without creating dependencies or causing morning grogginess. I actually look forward to drinking Evening Bean every night, not only because it helps me fall asleep faster without having to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, but because it tastes so good too. It's actually become my new nightcap. It's great if you're vegan or keto as well. So just click on the link in this show description or head on over to evening.ver.so/outspoken and use the coupon code outspoken at checkout to save 15% on your first order. Try Evening Bean tonight and wake up feeling refreshed tomorrow. That's evening.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code outspoken at checkout to save 15%. But now, back to the show. Yeah, and I just look. It's a very difficult one, isn't it? Because all of these people who are standing up for Sangita are equally awful. But I do just find the hypocrisy, Alex, of James O'Brien quite something. I mean, this is a man who Calvin McKenzie is quite rightly constantly calling out because effectively he is a middle-class liberal. He initially found his success as a right-winger. And he changed his position and he became further and further to the left when it suited him, because that's where the LBC audience was going. Or more importantly, I guess, Alex, where the LBC management was going. Then he led that internal coup against Nigel Farage, which was completely despicable, completely against free speech, and actually was shameful of the management because it showed that they were going to allow one man to control that station. And quite recently, Katie Hopkins admitted that James O'Brien and Sheila Fogarty actually tried to ambush her while she was on air. So these are not good people.
No, they're really awful, nasty people. And this is what I said about him. I really don't like him at all. This is very much his playbook. And you're right. I don't think he represents anybody but himself. He's just one giant narcissistic ego and a bully to boot. At least that's my impression. I don't know him personally, but I think it'd be staggering to find out he's some lovely, genial, open-minded, open-hearted fellow behind the scenes. I feel sorry for Sangita because she's in a position where she can't say anything. And not only can she not say anything, she's now having all this speculation that she was thrown off air because she was rubbish, which this woman, if she wants to be able to pick up and go forth and get another job in broadcasting, that's going to really be an albatross around her neck. Normally protocol is a station says, thank you very much. We've had a wonderful time broadcasting together. Sangita's going to go on and pursue other projects. We wish her the very best. She'll be sorely missed at the station. Some sort of thing like that makes it sound like it was mutually agreed and that the person is going to be, woefully missed. But quite the opposite has happened. And the station have let their sort of, the thing is about James O'Brien is he thinks he's top dog. He basically believes he now runs the station and can say and do what he likes. And I think he needs to be reined in a bit. But harking back to what I was saying before about these divisions now on the right wing of politics and the new right of politics, we were just saying how delightful it is to sit there and watch the left wing self-cannibalize. Let us not forget that they will be watching some of our spats and internal battles and saying the same about us.
Very good point. Very, very good point. And I think if there is one person who is absolutely enjoying the Reform UK civil war, it is James O'Brien. And I do understand that. I just wanted to share a post, though, from the aforementioned Calvin McKenzie in regards to O'Brien, because I think, Alex, this sometimes does show why his actions are so truly despicable. He wrote, thanks to the LBC's lefty scumbag James O'Brien calling the nationwide thuggery Farage riots wholly untrue, I hear the reform leader is now being protected by a security detail of 8. LBC owner Ashley Tabor King makes his money by turning the audience of O'Brien's untrue outbursts into advertising revenue. Mr. Tabor King comes from a highly respected and successful Jewish family. Dad has owned, along with business colleagues, multiple Derby winners who fled Russia and the pogroms. Therefore, right now, and living in London, he will understand very clearly what it's like to be in fear of the Palestine-supporting mob. Grateful if he would speak to his station's management and get them to tell O'Brien to dial down the rhetoric before somebody is hurt. If anything were to happen to Farage, it will be on O'Brien. And I do think Calvin is completely right on that. Do you remember Nigel gave O'Brien the opportunity to say, actually, maybe I was wrong about the Farage riots, and he didn't. He doubled down.
Yeah, that was vile. When the hashtag was pushed, Farage riots, and started being promoted online, that was really, really sick and despicable. Nigel at the time was in Hong Kong during those riots, meeting his very first grandchild. And the people who pushed that, I dare say that the Conservative Party had their hand in that. But the people who tried to personify rioting as somehow all going back to Nigel Farage don't realise they were putting his life at risk. And I remember seeing the Socialist Workers' Party all start amassing outside Reform HQ and shouting Nazi scum off our streets. And they were holding placards and signs talking about stamping on the neck of fascism. And things were so volatile. I remember coming out of News UK, where I present on Talk, and seeing loads of police cars while all these riots were taking place, and feeling unsafe, wondering if, they were going to come and start congregating outside News UK. Because as an MEP for the Brexit Party, I remember walking to do interviews on College Green when the legacy media thought it was great fun to build a load of scaffolding so they could do all their broadcasting from outside, while Steve Bray had his megaphone, and all those people who looked like they're permanently on Rag Week, even though they're 60 years old, with their EU berets, were shouting things and waving their placards. And the legacy media thought this added colour, when actually the studios are just, 20 metres down the road. It didn't add colour. What it did is it meant the broadcasting was constantly interrupted. And for people like me as a Brexit Party MEP to go and do an interview there, I had to go through a gauntlet 20 thick deep of people who were spitting on me and pulling chunks of hair out. I had to have police escorts to get to College Green to do those interviews. And even with the police there, they still tried to hit you and grab you and spit on you. So this idea that if you're right wing, it's fine, you've got some force field around you because you're the evil one, you're therefore resilient to acts of harm, is nonsense. No other politician in the UK has faced the sort of violence and anger that Nigel has, including being hit round the head with placards, having wet cement thrown at him, having milkshake thrown at him. I mean, any one of these incidents could have turned out to be something far more critical if the projectile had a bit more weight to it. And so when people like James O'Brien try to personify really sort of, flammable issues in the country as Nigel Farage, he is definitely preparing Nigel for some pretty unhappy events.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.